Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Far Lands or Bust. So, woof, Wolfie. I have a question for you guys. Has anybody heard any interesting news in the last few days? I am, of course, speaking of Minecraft 1.8. As you all know, I did my little preview video, which, by the way, I'm back in 1.7.3. I successfully reverted back because of all the weird craziness that was going on in 1.8. But more so than that, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering if I have seen all the news and videos, most from AntVenom. They're talking about the worlds in 1.8 and that it's potential that there are no such thing as the Far Lands anymore in 1.8. And that is certainly interesting. It has certainly piqued my interest, I'll say that much. Basically, let me give a couple background here for those of you who are just joining us. My name is Kurt. Nice to meet you. Basically, for those of you who watched my 1.8 preview video, I started a world. I didn't start a world, sorry. I went into one of my 1.7 testing worlds, and I went to venture out into the unexplored areas that had yet to be generated. That means that I was crossing a threshold between land that was generated in 1.7 to land that was generated in 1.8. And what I found was an endless ocean of endlessness. It pretty much, I just was sailing for days. In that video, I only sailed about 2 days, I think overnight. But even after that, I kept testing and kept sailing and didn't find anything. And I even tried my other 1.7 worlds, and I got the same result. So that was pretty disappointing and concerning in itself. And then, for those of you who follow Coestar, he also did a video where he traveled via a portal from 1.7 to 1.8, and something weird happened there. His portal that he created in the Nether, when he popped out on the top side, it was floating in midair, basically all the way to the top limit of the sky. So that was really curious, but he was floating in air, and once again, he was surrounded by a giant, endless ocean. There's a little island next to him, and I still, even though I was sailing for days, I did find little tiny islands, but it pretty much was indiscernible from every other basic ocean biome that they've added to 1.8. It just was completely endless. So he came across the same thing, and I was messaging with Coestar back and forth. He couldn't quite figure it out, and I was explaining my situation, and I've gotten messages from other people who had the same problem with the endless ocean after you leave your 1.7 world. A lot of people were thinking maybe it's a glitch where for some reason the land is generating as normal, like mountains and plains and things like that. It just happens to be generating underneath the sea level, which would actually kind of make sense, and I would think would be supported by the fact that Co's portal, when he came out of the portal, was up in the sky as if it expected to be on top of a mountain, but the mountain was underneath the water or something. But I'm not completely sure if that makes any sense or if that has any logical explanation in terms of the way the game was coded or the generation was coded. So I'm not going to speculate too much about that. But either way, for whatever I could do, I couldn't load any of my old worlds and get any of the new terrain to start generating that wasn't just endless deep ocean. There are some people who have given me screenshots or have said, oh, I have a 1.7 world and it's not all ocean. I just crossed over and it's, plains and trees and stuff like that. So I don't know what to tell you. All my tests went that way, and a lot of other people I've seen have had the same problem. So that was up to my experience with the 1.8 pre-release. Of course, speaking all about this, let me remind everybody that we're talking about the pre-release here. I know that it's quite possible and probably quite probable that it is Mojang themselves who leaked the pre-release just to get a little bit more time with beta testing before they do the full release, and also just because they are crazy, fun-loving dudes. But in either case, we can't say that this pre-release or any problems we're experiencing in this pre-release are exactly what's going to happen when they fully release 1.8. and furthermore 1.81, 1.82, and keep, fixing bugs and problems that people crop up with. But I just wanted to, disclaimer, put that on there. But yeah, so that was my experience with the 1.8 pre-release. You little bum. Furthermore into that, God, Wolfie, stop it. It's trolling me. Somebody and everybody kept sending me, somebody took an image of a cartograph map of a world they generated in 1.8. It was basically 20,000 by 20,000 blocks. And it basically showed that there in the middle was oh, damn it. Now I'm stuck, Wolfie. And now you're hurt. I need to feed him. You shouldn't swim more than half an hour after you've eaten, Wolfie. Anyway, where was I going? Oh, the 20,000 by 20,000 world, where it showed basically, as you went further and further, the biomes more and more likely were to turn into ocean, and then suddenly there was just basically solid ocean surrounding this 20,000 by 20,000 landmass. And, well, that certainly may be the case. I certainly hope it's not, because that would be severely limiting to the Minecraft world, because right now, wolves, right now, and like I said, I have never pressed F3. You guys don't know how far I am, and neither do I. But some people have given me estimates based on how long I've been walking in terms of the time and etc. And I would have to reason to guess that I'm well beyond 100,000 away from the center of the map. Maybe more. I'm not sure, but at least I'm probably in the 6 digits. I'm thinking. It might be a lot more. I honestly don't know, but. So basically, if this was a 1.8 world, I would be traveling all through ocean, because I would have left the area at which land is likely to generate. So that, just in terms of 1.8, I hope that's not the case, because that would severely limit, at least my point of view of the Minecraft world. It would become something more like Terraria, where Terraria maps have like a solid end that you can't travel beyond and stuff like that. They have edges. It's something, I know for myself and a lot of other people I've spoken to who are much more into the adventuring and the exploring and combat of Minecraft. Part of the, I guess, the allure, the pull of Minecraft is the fact that it is a theoretically limitless world. You can walk as far as I have. What am I up? I'm probably well beyond 10 hours worth of walking in one direction. What am I doing here? I don't think there's enough water. I'm just going to swim across. Basically, it's pretty much a limitless world, and everything, no matter what direction you walk or how far you go, you're always going to get this randomly generated features and, really cool mountains or flat plains or, bodies of water, and there's always a chance you can walk across a place that you could settle down and create a whatever you want to make, a building, a settlement, and then continue on and abandon that settlement and continue on and another 100,000 blocks and make a new settlement or stuff like that. But if it's true to the case that the new terrain generation for 1.8 kind of degenerates to an endless ocean after about 100,000 blocks, that's going to take a little bit of the punch out of the game for me, unfortunately to say. It's just, I guess, just how I feel, I guess. Maybe in the comments you can let me know how you feel, and I'm certainly not done talking about this. So, stay tuned. But, it's just, I hope that's not the case, basically, is what I'm getting to. And it brings me to my next point, is that just, before I started recording this, AntVenom released a video in which he boldly proclaims that in 1.8, the far lands no longer exist. Oh Lord, that would be absolutely terrible. And he has a video where he's using a 1.7 world where he traveled to the far lands, and you can for sure see the far lands and the crazy terrain generation and sheer cliffs. But then he loads it into 1.8 and travels a bit further, and in a separate area, the far lands disappear, and all it is that endless ocean biome again. And then he travels even further to find that there's a new hard limit, which means it's a point where the world just ends and no more blocks spawn. the new hard limit he found was at 30 million, I believe. And basically after that, just the ocean stops, and if you go beyond that, you fall off into your death. So that is extraordinarily concerning. So I am certainly going to be keeping tabs on that. In that video, AntVenom also, first of all, said he hopes that's not the case because he feels bad for me because of this journey I'm on is all based around getting to the far lands. But second of all, he mentions how he was trying a whole bunch of different areas and spawn points he was teleporting himself to. Not spawn points, but just, you know, coordinates he was teleporting himself to. And he basically found that, like I'd been saying, beyond the 100,000 mark, it's pretty much all ocean. And that, like I've been saying, would be very disappointing. I don't know if this is going to be the case in the full release of 1.8. I don't see how different the terrain generation could be between a pre-release and the full release, to be honest. Oops. Smart. So this obviously is of great interest to me and of great interest to a lot of you. You've all been sending me these pictures and messages and asking me what the hell am I going to do and your concerns. Oops. So, yeah, hold on a second. Let me make a bed here and go to sleep, and then I can... Woof, I know, Wolfie. I didn't sit you down outside. Let me do that. Let me make a couple boats. Speaking of oceans. But yeah, I was literally sailing for days, and it was nothing but boring oceans. Sometimes underneath the oceans, like you saw in my 1.8 video, there was some light emanating, so I'd go down there and it'd be a cavern, or as I found, a dungeon. So that was certainly interesting, but it also is just very puzzling. Okay, what was I saying? It's also... It's like I have narcolepsy. I'm just talking, and all of a sudden he falls asleep. What was I saying? Oh! The mystical floating trees of Island Town. I need dirt. So what was I saying? It's it's just puzzling that those things are spawning underneath the ocean. So it kind of gives a little bit of credence to the possibility that the terrain generation is bugged and is generating normal land but under sea level. Where is a pork chop? I need to feed Wolfie. Wolfie, stop it. Indubitably. Oh. As if we're not sick of sailing enough. But yeah, the that I'm certainly keeping tabs on. And I guess I can answer, what the heck would I do if the far lands officially are no more? Obviously, I'm back in 1.7, and God bless America, Wolfie. Stop it. You're going to push me again, aren't you? Stop it. Stop it. Leave me alone. The plan that I have is to just continue playing in 1.7 as much as I can. And at least, to the very least, until we reach our 100,000... Whoa, yeah, that's really a big goal, actually. Our 100% of our Far Lands or Bust goal for Child's Play charity, which I don't think I gave the update. Sorry, I should have said at the beginning of the video, but I was so much stuff on the brain. Our Far Lands or Bust fundraiser for Child's Play charity is now up to 74%. We've surpassed $6,000 already raised for Child's Play charity. So that is amazing, and that right there is the reason why I'm going to continue traveling to the Far Lands in 1.7 if they don't exist anymore in 1.8. And to be honest, like I've been saying, I don't know if I want to play in a Minecraft world that is just a small little continent that is less than 20,000 by 20,000 or whatever, the 100,000 by 100,000 is going to be. Even though in normal play, the majority of 99% of players are never going to go beyond that threshold to have any problems with that. I just feel that it takes away a little bit of the mysticism about it. That same mysticism that started me on my journey 65 episodes ago out to the far lands. The same curiosity of exploration and adventure. So, yeah, I've got a lot to think about, let's just put it that way. But for now, we're enjoying Far Lands or Bust in 1.7.3, and we're still traveling, and as we see, this ocean thankfully ended, and we have some nice rolling meadows with wild sheep to enjoy, and spawning wolfies. There he is. You there, give me your wool. I do like, the new features they've added to Far Lands or Bust, not Far Lands Bust, to Minecraft. I like the fact that there's NPC villages now, and eventually they're going to add NPCs. I like the abandoned mines. Those are kind of cool, even though I never fully played or experienced any of those myself. That seems cool. The strongholds seem cool, although once again, things about limiting. They say there's only one stronghold per map, and if you're talking to a guy like me, I expect to have to walk 100,000 blocks in order to reach something like that, so it's a little bit disappointing that there's only one, but I guess we'll find out more about those later. And yeah, speaking of 1.8, they say, today's Sunday, by the way, they say it's going to be released Monday, the 12th. I wouldn't be too sure of that. Maybe they will, but just because they released the pre-release, they said it would be out the 12th before they did the pre-release, so I'm thinking maybe they did that to wet our whistles a little bit and just, make people happy while they continue to fix bugs and things like that, because obviously now that the pre-release is out, many more people are testing it, and there are many more bugs being found. The most important of which is that the Far Lands don't exist, my friends over at Mojang. Please take that into account. But, yeah, anyway. Ooh, this is kind of neat. It looks like it used to be a ancient Mayan pyramid that's been covered by centuries of dirt. I remember when I went to Mexico, there's a place called Coba. There's Chichen Itza and things like that where the pyramids have all been uncovered, and you can see the pyramids as they were, but then there's still places like Koba where a lot of the pyramids are still all underneath grass and vegetation, so that kind of reminded me of that. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so I'm a little bit skeptical that they're going to release it fully tomorrow, but like I said, even if they do, I'm not going to upgrade. I'm keeping backups of everything just in case, so you don't got to worry about me. And like I said, I'll still be doing Flob at least until we reach $8,200 for our Child's Play charity, and of course at least until after I do my 8-hour, 20-minute live stream in celebration of that. So we have that to look forward to. Of course, it's going to be a little bit difficult if everybody else upgrades to 1.8, and I'm not sure how reliable it is to switch back and forth between that and 1.7. So I might not be able to do, not that I have anything planned, but I might not be able to do any, co-op big adventures with anybody or anything like that I always look forward to doing. But so we'll deal with it. We will deal with it, friends. We will put on our dark sunglasses and deal with it. Woof! That's right, Wolfie. That's the spirit. So yeah, I do want to thank everybody for certainly all their concern and sending me all these messages. I can't obviously reply to all of them. I also want to thank AntVenom and Coestar and all the other Let's Players who have looked into these things, and I've certainly been following along to all their videos, and they've had much better coverage of the 1.8 upgrade than I have. I've only been concerned with this one tiny detail, but yeah, so it's still an excellent little community, I think. What else can I talk about? Well, got a little bit of time. Yesterday was a new Doctor Who again. This one I was a little bit more happy with. This one was the Girl Who Waited. This one was a little bit more classic Doctor Who. It was even though it wasn't, I don't think it was Stephen Moffat who wrote it, or was it? It was a very Moffat-esque storyline where, you know, the Doctor travels through time and leaves behind somebody only to return and having to deal with all the trauma and tragedy of that, and etc., etc. But I thought this episode was a lot better than the first two of this second part of the sixth season. So I'm liking where it's going. It certainly had a twist ending. No spoilers, but it was one of those slight little shocks there. They kind of started to overdo it with the emotion at the end, but it went very well indeed. So there was that we enjoyed yesterday. I reverted for my 1.8 video. I disabled any texture packs, but now I'm back with the custom texture pack. That's a mixture between Better Default and Alternate Craft. So that's why I've got these crazy fall-colored foliage. And I'm sure you notice the animals look slightly different. Yep. Okay. I don't know what really else to talk about. That's all I really had prepared, other than you know, obviously a lot to talk about with the 1.8 madness. You know, I got these spare things. Let me just use torches. There we go. Opened up an inventory slot. Yeah, the 1.8 generation terrain is certainly much more grand, and the mountains are much more impressive, but just looking at this, I'm going to, if I ever do upgrade, I am going to miss these, you know, the world that it is now is in a much smaller scale, even though it's, as a whole, a giant, endless scale. Just the mountains and the hills and these little islands are just, the scale of them is almost very toy-like, you know, and maybe that's what Notch was trying to get away from. He wanted it more realistic with the rivers and the gigantic mountains and deep oceans, but speaking of rivers, this looks like a river right here. Screw you, noobs. I don't need 1.8. I've got the features right here in 1.7.3. All you gotta do is walk for 12 hours straight. Or however many hours I've been walking. Alright, sunset. I got to yeah, let's just do this here. Where's Wolfie? Sit. Good boy. I am going to do something experimental. And probably dangerous. Oh, that's not the one I want. Do this. Aha! Pre-made hidey hole in a crater. Works for me. Works for Wolfie, too. Yes. So anyway, certainly check out those videos from AntVenom and Coestar. Sure, why not? I'll link them in the video description. Thank you, everybody, for your concern and messages. I will certainly keep you all abreast as to what goes on with the developments for 1.8. I'm gonna, either way, I'm gonna keep 1.7 for a while, like I said, just because it always takes at least a couple days, maybe a couple weeks for them to iron out all the bugs. But in that time, I guess we can sit and try to find out if the far lands are a thing or not. So, so anyway, once again, thank you for joining me. Please continue to go to farlandsorbust.com to contribute to our fundraiser for Child's Play charity. Like I said, 1 more percent, and we're up to 75, 3/4 of the way there. I'm very excited about that, and thank you to everybody who has contributed. Also, please, if you like this video, click the little like button. That would be much appreciated. Also, leave me your comments and questions. That always helps. And at that, my name is Kurt. I will see you next time.